When Robert Downey Jr. announced he was coming back to play Tony Stark or maybe Doctor Doom one more time, we all kind of lost our minds at what in the world Disney is up to. Are they just bringing back the gang in order to make more money and market their films? Or is this going to be something with real artistic merit? That's up to you, of course. But now it sounds like Chris Evans is coming back to play possibly Captain America. Seems like Captain America. Disney already has a Captain America that replaced their previous Captain America. Let's talk about some of the reasons we're hearing and some of the rumors and speculation that we are privy to here on That Park Place. There's a bit of news that broke over the evening here. Chris Evans returning to Marvel announcement reportedly frustrates Anthony Mackie behind the scenes. This one from Marvin Montanaro, fresh off the presses for anyone who wants to run out there and know what's going on here. Look at that.
That's why I was late.
Hey, sorry about that, and thank you, Marvin. Chris Evans may return to Marvel for Avengers Doomsday, according to an exclusive report from The Wrap. However, rumors suggest the deal remains incomplete, and the announcement has reportedly ruffled the feathers of current Captain America Anthony Mackie. The Wrap.
See what I did there with the feathers?
I get it now. Really, they should have called him Sam Eagle or Uncle Sam. That would really,
right.
Well, I can get why they wouldn't want to put the uncle on him, but
I understood that reference.
Said about that would be better. The Wrap states that Evans' specific role and involvement in the Marvel Cinematic Universe remains unclear, but the report confirms his return. However, circulating rumors paint a different picture of the situation. Insiders suggest that Evans faces personal financial pressures, possibly influencing his decision to reprise the role that catapulted him to stardom. Reports indicate that Evans will appear in Avengers Doomsday alongside Robert Downey Jr., who will trade his Iron Man armor to play the villainous Doctor Doom. Whether he's playing Victor Von Doom, well, that's a matter of some debate. Downey is rumored to earn a combined $200 million for Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Evans is also expected to receive a significant paycheck for his return. Recently, Evans returned as, spoiler alert, Johnny Storm as the Human Torch in the Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four films in Deadpool and Wolverine. That's my fault for the flub here. So here is the info that I'm a little iffy here because one of my sources here, I've been in communication with a source for some time now, and I'm not. He sent me some things that I've not been able to verify, but he's been pretty consistent over the last little while, and makes me, the boosting of this right here makes me think that he's probably got some stuff that you all might want to hear about. So let's talk about this Chris Evans situation here. First of all, why would Disney want Chris Evans back at this particular moment? This is a free
because no one cares about Marvel anymore, and especially Captain America. And they're about to take a nearly $500 million bath on Brave New World.
Yeah. Oh no, I mean, I think this indicates that the testing, or the focus group testing, or the response from the early cuts of Brave New World just haven't simply passed the muster. I don't think anybody's really interested in a Falcon-led Captain America film. Go ahead, Culture.
Well, yeah, that, and Chris Evans has maybe some serious personal financial issues, which he's still on the hook, I believe, for paying Allison Ward an allowance for in perpetuity. Plus he hasn't exactly picked great films to be in.
Whoa! Recently. Red One was a masterpiece, Culture. Come on, that was really.
I hope he got a big paycheck.
Stop! I'm sure he did, but we have to stop letting The Rock make creative decisions for movies.
Yeah.
Well, yes, there is something about that worked really well for Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg has often said that he wasn't getting cast in the roles that he wanted, and so he started a production company so that he could just make the movies himself, and he could get financing for a film that has Mark Wahlberg in it. But if he went to audition for a film, someone else would always jump ahead in the line. So, I get it. Taking your financial future into your own hands. In this case, I think it's a little bit more complicated with Evans. And he's got a family situation that I don't know has made the mainstream press. I hope it doesn't make the mainstream press, but he's probably going to be on the hook for helping someone with their finances, whether or not they're still related to him. That's all I'm going to say on that. here's an interesting part of this rumor that we're reporting on here. Additionally, Marvel had reportedly been collaborating with Sony to create a unified MCU and Sony universe with a soft reboot after Avengers Secret Wars. It seems that the signing of Chris Evans to this role might be related to all of the news that is breaking right now about the end of the Cravens, the Madam Webs, I'm sure there's some other one that I'm forgetting. Oh, Morbius. Yeah. Always forget about Morbius there.
Wow.
The the squashing of that might have something to do with Evans coming back here. I do know I've heard some rumors here that maybe they were looking to recast Steve Rogers. Not just the mantle strategy, but I heard a big name that was circling the role of Steve Rogers. And I think that that person is going to be moving on to a different role at a different studio, something that is still a character associated with bravery and maybe one of his rom-com co-stars. Anyways, I'm being very vague here to just hint at what I've heard because, well, the Chris Evans situation is interesting, and I think it's the consequences of some decisions that maybe he didn't think of, didn't think through at the time. Now, that being said, there are some consequences for the theme park side of this as well, and we're going to be talking about those in just a second. Guys, do you have any reaction to this?
Look, the MCU I don't think has been quite as strong as when Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. have left it. Right? I think I think Disney has been very slow to establish new characters that can really take the mantle from those two stalwarts that really propelled the MCU to its heights that it achieved at the box office and in other places. So I think this comes at a time when I think their characters that they were trying to, make into these big new things just simply didn't cut it. You can actually see right here, switching a little bit to the theme parks before we get deep into it. You can see I took these pictures at Disney California Adventure actually yesterday, literally like an hour after the story actually broke. This is the line from Miss Marvel right there. That hit TV show that everybody saw, right? And you can see right there, whole family, they're looking to get their pictures there, or maybe they're confused about who this actually is. You can see this contrast with Steve Rogers and the line that somebody like that demands at Avengers Campus. And that's kind of the real thing here. It's like, look, the merchandising appeal for these new characters and even their box office potential they simply don't live up to either Steve Rogers or Iron Man. And that's why they're bringing them back, because they sell. And Bob Chapek understood this. And now it looks like the broader Walt Disney Company is getting on board with this idea as well.
Well, you have to be blind to not get on board with it, because the failure after failure after miserable failure, this movie's going to have to make $1 billion to even break even at this point. And the only 3 movies that have broken $1 billion since Endgame were Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Deadpool and Wolverine. So 2 Sonys and a Fox. Nothing Marvel has done it, because they've just abandoned everything that they that they had built up for all these years. Iron Man and Captain America are not mantles. To the viewing audience, it's a friend. It's someone you care about. It's someone whose journey you are emotionally invested in. And to just say, nah, it's not this guy anymore, it's this guy. And to that point, if they had made a Falcon movie, like if they had made a movie of the Falcon, I think it would have done huge numbers before Endgame. Huge. People like the Falcon.
If we look, yes, and I still like Mackie. I just don't think that they are serving that character or that actor well by this. So let's go back to one aspect of this story. We skipped over a little bit, so I could talk about the rumors here. Anthony Mackie is definitely being overshadowed by this news here. Rumors suggest Mackie and the cast of Captain America Brave New World feel frustrated by the timing of the announcement, which comes 2 months before the film's release. Many behind the scenes view it as premature and believe it detracts from the spotlight on Mackie's upcoming film. So there's 2 things that I see here. First of all, that is a line at the parks for Steve Rogers as Captain America. no question whatsoever. If they want the character people want to line up to see, they're going for Captain America. Disney has put themselves in a very awkward position by making Falcon in the role a racial issue, which was very much what Falcon and the Winter Soldier is about. They've brought in Isaiah Bradley, played by, oh man, I can't remember his name, Marcus Dixon from Alias, or is that the name of the actor? I love that actor though. What is his name? He also played Martian Manhunter in the Justice League animated stuff. I'll think of his name in just a moment here, but they've made it into a race thing. It is the first thing that the the Falcon and the Winter Soldier plot appears to be around. And so they've essentially tainted this character with, we are going to talk about current day politics, which is, I don't think, what anyone wants to see in their Captain America film. Vague references to the Patriot Act, like they did in Winter Soldier, I think everybody's okay with the idea of, well, there's too much of a security state here. No one really wants more of a security state to the point where you got helicarriers in the sky knocking people out before they can ever commit a crime. Everyone is against that. However, when you get to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and they're like, well, we want to go back to a world without borders. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to explain your position a little bit better. And forgive me for mocking that classically mocked line. You're going to have to do better, screenwriters, if you want people to believe in that. Also, giving Anthony Mackie an 8-minute monologue where he tears into people with nothing specific, nothing helpful about his thoughts on race, refugees, immigration, and terrorism, all in one screed. Guys, you are not helping anybody. By the way, Carl Lumbly, love that guy. Great voice.
By the way, Jonas, I mean, are you saying that, the first Captain America movies, the idea of a man out of time, a man struggling to find his place in a world that's passed him by, that's in no way as good as Captain America Can't Get Alone?
Oh. Or the fact that the guy came out with hey, you're out of bank, you don't have any income. And we can't certify your loan with no income based off of the fact that you're a real nice guy and you've got a reputation. Oh, it must be the other thing. Like, that's pretty reasonable. I don't know. You're making a pretty good case for the guy from the bank. Also, go get a loan somewhere else. This is a made up movie problem you're trying to throw into a story about a guy who has wings and throws around a shield.
Yeah.
You're wearing $100 million in technology in a uniform and you can't get a loan.
make some public appearances, man.
Yes.
I mean,
engagements, big deals. Come on.
Captain America endorses Shake Shack.
Well, except he can't really say Captain America, which is the whole problem. Look, this goes back to the idea that he was getting guff from everybody, that he wasn't going to he shouldn't have a solo movie. Even his co-stars were like basically, joking with him about the fact that, he's not going to get a solo movie. And you know what? Maybe they were joking, maybe they weren't, but they were right. Why is there a solo movie for not Captain America? I mean, it's just, look, you can like this character. You can play defense on that and just say, well, it's in the books. Yeah, but nobody bought those books and nobody cares about those books. Everybody likes the original classic characters. It's the same argument you're throwing out there for the terrible idea of female Silver Surfer, which was not a thing for very long. Believe me, I went through the history on a video about that one time. It's you're wasting effort on things that have a limited appeal. If you bring him back as Falcon, one of my favorite characters as a kid in comics, right? You have a win. And why we never got a Cap and Falcon film still blows my mind.
Oh, it's so crazy. One last thing to point out on the story right here. We mentioned that it does have ramifications for the theme parks, and I do believe it does. People will note that Robert Downey Jr., when he was reincorporated back into the MCU as Dr. Doom, not only was he incorporated as part of the upcoming Stark Flight Lab, the paint mixer attraction that we've been talking about, but also Infinity Defense, which hadn't been confirmed up until the point that Robert Downey Jr. did come back. Well, it's highly speculated that with this deal to bring Chris Evans back into the fold for Avengers Doomsday, I believe, coming out very soon here, that he will also have a deal linked to bringing him back specifically for Infinity Defense as well. I think that's a big deal. We did see Rise of the Resistance incorporate all of the sequel trilogy characters like Oscar Isaac and Daisy Ridley, for example. And now it looks like the MCU is wanting to take that same approach with Infinity Defense. I think that's it does add legitimacy to this attraction. It's kind of a weird place, right? Because the iron is cooling on the MCU just by and large. But I think if you could incorporate those characters back for something like this, I don't know. Maybe maybe it would be a popular attraction upon its opening, whenever that happens.
Right, and who knows when it'll happen, since everything is being pushed back at Disney these days. We were going to talk about Dinosaur a little bit today, but that seems to be something that is being saved by budget.
Don't have any money.
Budget timing.
Yeah, they don't have money. Look, and they've already Disney already has a terrible reputation for attraction construction because they spread it out over I've talked about this before, but they spread it out over multiple quarters. Right? They try to hide and that's why we don't get anything quickly at Disney. They just suck. Right? They say we're going to spend $2 billion over 10 years. That doesn't mean anything. It's just that Disney sucks. I'm sorry, just overall. Anyway, sorry.
That's an entire theme park for Universal right now.
Yeah.
So
yes,
when Disney says they're going to spend $500 million on something, that could be one ride, and that ride might not even work when it comes down to it. So
look at the Tron attraction. It's like less than a minute, and it cost how much, and took 7 years.
Yeah,
and it had already been built in China in a year.
Right. So when it comes down to it, there's a company down the street, and I'm not being literal with the $2 billion get you a theme park, and it can very easily be
$4 billion
taken out of context.
$4 billion gets you a theme park.
Right. Yeah. Or $1 billion or $2 billion can get you a kids park out in Frisco or Plano if you want to move over 20 miles from there. That thing doesn't look. I'm going to say. It's the hotel is not to my tastes, but I'm not a little kid going to Universal Plano or whatever. One more thing that I want to throw in here, because I think this cuts the legs out a little bit from Captain America: Brave New World, because everyone's going to go into that movie wondering when Chris Evans is going to show up. There are already going to be people who show up to that movie wondering when Chris Evans is going to show up, not realizing he's not going to be in the film, because maybe they're thinking they're not remembering that scene in Endgame where he comes back as an old man. The whole thing where he both travels through time and doesn't come back, but comes back, but also goes to betray all of his values and interfere in the timeline, to be a little bit selfish there.
I don't think I will.
Yeah, exactly. So somebody's going to show up expecting Evans in this thing. They're going to get Mackie, and then the people who realize he's not going to be there are going to be waiting for Evans to show up for just a little bit, and that's going to overshadow the entire movie. We're back to Robert Downey Jr. in the pre-credit scene in Incredible Hulk here, where people were guaranteed, oh, this is going to be connected. And all you have is Robert Downey Jr. coming in, making a bunch of trailer lines to talk about, I hear you've got a problem. Oh, that's a nice suit. I hear you've got another nice suit, Iron Man. That's what people think of when you start hinting that you've got a guy like Evans showing up for Captain America 4 that is not supposed to have Captain America in it. It's very frustrating. I can imagine the audience, well, the normies, being very confused by all of this.
Jonas, I'll float you one extra though. What if they actually want people to think Chris Evans will show up because it will make people show up to go see this movie?
Ooh,
that would be money better spent than the 100 to 150, maybe 200 million they're spending on advertising. If he's in the film, he'll be in the trailers. You will be able to tell their desperation by how quickly Evans ends up in the trailers. If it's day one,
reshoots.
If it's before the movie comes out, very desperate. If it is 2 weeks out, still desperate, but they do that. Like the Ant-Man as Giant Man thing did end up in trailers a couple of weeks after Civil War dropped.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.